Yes. Ready? As we prepare for a meeting, if you would please silence your mobile devices. All right, at this time, the mayor will call to order the regular city council meeting for 6 p.m. Tuesday, April the 22nd of 2025, City Council Chambers, 201 East Nash Street, Terrell, Texas. I have on the dais with us this evening District 2, Donna Renee Anderson, District 3, Mayor Ronnie Velasquez, District 4, Mayor Pro Tem Stephanie Holmes Thomas, and District 5, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Phil Robertson. At this time, I would ask for Reverend Richard Rollerson to come forward with Bethlehem Baptist Church to lead us in invocation. If you would please stand and remain standing for our pledges.
Let us bow. Our Creator God, we just first of all want to thank you for just another day. We thank you for the precious gift of life. We don't take that for granted. And we thank you for the privilege of responsibility that comes our way with each day. We lift up this mayor, we lift up the council members. We are praying your blessing upon them. We are praying that your wisdom will work through them as they, Lord, plan strategically, Lord, to lead this city forward. And we're praying not only for just those who are residents of this city, but we're praying even now for those who will become residents and part of the population of this city. But give this council wisdom as they seek simply to exercise their civic responsibility. Again, thank you for this day, and we thank you for being better to us than we've been to ourselves. We love you because you first loved us. It is in Jesus' name we do pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Pastor, if you would. As customary, I like to give a challenge coin to those who come and pray for the city.
Okay.
You know how much the faith-based community means to me and to the council and to this community. Thank you for all your efforts. We know that you have quite an outreach. This is about building your legacy here in Terrell and also leading the way for the citizens of Terrell and your congregation. So thank you, sir, so much.
All right, no problem. Just give that Michael.
The next item on the agenda is mayor and council community recognition and events. Is there anything anyone would like to bring forward first? If not, we do have some recognitions that we have. The first one is a proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month. Who do we have here with, if you would please come forward. Hey, how are you? So I have a proclamation. I'll read the proclamation first and then I'll present them to you. It's whereas children thrive in safe and stable nurturing families within our own communities, and whereas it is critical to build a system that supports families when they are in a crisis, and whereas when possible it is important to intentionally support families before they are in crisis in order to prevent abuse and maltreatment, and whereas working with the established partnerships, we can build strong, healthy families and resilient communities where children can thrive. And whereas child abuse prevention occurs every day through the diligent work and tireless advocacy undertaken by families, friends, neighbors, houses of faith, advocacy groups, nonprofit organizations, schools, healthcare providers, social workers, and government agencies. And whereas partners in our community that work collectively to prevent child abuse include Kaufman County Department of Family and Protective Services, Empower, Kaufman County Children's Advocacy Center, the Kaufman County Child Welfare Board, Lone Star CASA, REACH Child Placing Agency, a Fern Norville Shelter Foundation, and Bikers Against Child Abuse. Now therefore, I, Rick Harmona, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, and on behalf of the Terrell City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of April as Child Abuse Awareness Month in the city of Terrell, and ask the community to join me as we recognize the agencies and organizations that work to ensure children have positive, healthy environments so tomorrow's leaders have the support they need to thrive and reach their full potential. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the corporate seal of the city of Terrell, Texas, to be affixed this, the 22nd day of April the 25th. Congratulations. And how many of the groups do we have? Just,
I think I might be the only one tonight.
would you please just introduce yourself to the council? And
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mayor and Council, for having us here today. My name is Laurie Dodd, and I am here too. Wonderful. I am here with Lone Star CASA, and we do serve children in Kaufman and Rockwall counties. And as you know, those are the two of the fastest growing counties in Texas right now, and sadly, that means our numbers are also going up. So we work to elevate the voices of children in the courtroom and make sure that the judge is aware of their situation. We have volunteers who go and work with the children and the families and do all that they can to keep families together, and also to primarily ensure that the children have a safe and stable place to thrive. So
Wonderful.
thank you so much for recognizing this. Very important. And
I'm part of the Kaufman County Leadership 2025, representing Casey's Place, which is in Kaufman. Glad to be here.
wonderful. Well, we thank both of you for your work and efforts for our children. I'm going to come forward and present this. Council, would y'all like to come forward and take a picture, please?
Yes. Good work, hard work.
thank you.
It is a hard work. Thank you for what you do.
Absolutely. I feel so fortunate and privileged to be able to help these kiddos. So.
Can you get it? Okay, here we go.
All right. Thank you. I'll take that one, sir. Thank you.
All right, next we have, whom do we have? Chief, would you go, Snap? Okay. Well, let's do Snap first. City engineer. Snap to it.
So thank you, Mayor and Council. I wanted to just take a brief moment. I've talked to airport with you several times, and we talked briefly, we put in the software, and y'all said, well, how many planes are coming? You want to take a gander at how many the max is right now? 461 in one 24-hour period.
Wow.
Touch and goes, lands, takes off. So I'm not going to take up all the time. There's a lot of activity and it's growing. So that's a good, positive thing. But remember, in January 1st, we started with the new FBO. And what I wanted to do is just spend 5-10 minutes. Now I'm going to let him do all the talking. But Kyle Esri is with Apex Aero, and I'm going to let you get to meet him, and he's going to tell you about some of the exciting things we got going on.
Yeah, good evening. It's a pleasure to meet everybody. So as Chris has mentioned, we've been in place for about 3.5 months. And so just thought we'd give a brief introduction of ourselves and what has occurred over the past 3.5 months or so. So I reside in Kansas City. I've been in the FBO business, which basically means fuel and real estate for aircraft, for nearly about 25 years. Started Apex Aero Center about 2 years ago. We have a location in Kansas City, Oklahoma City, here in Terrell, Texas, and then we're also up in Platteville, Wisconsin, which is just right outside Dubuque. So we're continuing to grow, which is great. Our main focus, as I mentioned, is fuel and real estate for aircraft, and by real estate we mean either managing T hangars and/or development, and that is something that we're looking at doing specifically here in Terrell, which I'll elaborate on here in just a few minutes. And one of the things that I feel like we're very, very strong at is establishing partners. So at a couple of our other locations, we've been very successful in bringing new flight training activity, aircraft maintenance services to the airport as well. And so we're going to continue to look for those partners on the airport. One of the other things that we're very proud of, so Kyle DeCoster, we only use one name at Apex, it's Kyle, is our general manager. So we're fortunate to have him. He has years of experience. Just most recently came from Addison. He was their safety and training manager for Galaxy FBO, and so he's got a wealth of knowledge. So we're very pleased to have him here as well. So quick update over the past 3 months. We have tried to enhance some of the services and amenities that are on the airfield. So just recently, we finished a coffee bar refreshment center, which is located inside the little alcove that focuses on the British Flying Museum, and we thought that that would be a great location just to help boost awareness of the museum. We've added a couple of new pieces of equipment, so ground power units, which power aircraft while they're on the ground to help starve, but also it obviously gets hot here, so we can help boost the amenities for users. Lab service and so forth. Kyle just recently has been working with an organization called Thrust. They're based out of Addison. They operate in and out. They're part of that 400 and something aircraft that do takeoffs and landings here at Terrell. We struck a fuel deal where they're going to continue purchasing or buy some fuel from us here in Terrell, Texas, which we're very happy about versus some of the neighboring airports. And we're looking to do more and more of that type of activity. In terms of marketing, we do have a couple of groups that help us on that front. We have a lady by the name of Jolinda who works in our office. She does direct outreach, so she'll use it's called TrackPack, but it's a very targeted marketing system where we're able to say, hey, we see jets going to neighboring airports. Why don't you guys give Terrell a try? She'll use email campaigns, and then we're also using some geofencing as well, which is great. And we are starting to see a boost in Jet A sales here, which is great. Going forward, going back to the hangar space side, you guys have a tremendous amount of real estate that's available on the airport, and I think that that is a huge asset. Just nationally, hangar space is becoming more and more of a commodity, and so when you look at Love, Addison, they are starting to become landlocked, and we think that Terrell, for example, is a great location to continue to develop the real estate component. So we're going to be looking at that over the next 6 to 12 months and so forth. So look for that in the near future. And then as an organization, just in general, we want to be involved in communities that have a very pro-business mindset, right? And that's very evident here in Kaufman County and with the city of Terrell. And so we're glad to be here. The airport also has a great asset, meaning like a 5,000 plus foot runway. And so with those items combined, I just think that this airport has a tremendous amount of growth opportunity. So with that, I'll turn it over if you guys have any questions. Just want to be very brief and give you a quick history as far as what we've been up to. And we're very excited to be partners with you.
Okay, we are excited as a city to have you guys here in Terrell. You came with a great reputation, and we certainly look forward to realizing some of the benefits of having an airport in our community. I think it's a jewel that's waiting to be found, and we appreciate the fact that you're here. I also want to present you with a coin, though. Council, go ahead, and do you have any comments?
I have a question. Without expanding our current airport, how many more touchdowns do you think we could safely accept, or?
I don't know the count. Like flight training activities, there's a tremendous amount of takeoffs and landings, right? And so like we want to continue to be good ambassadors on that front. From a business development standpoint, and quite frankly, from a revenue standpoint, we're interested in bringing turbine aircraft. And so, obviously, they're not doing a lot of takeoffs and landings. And so if we see little incremental growth on the turbine side, that's what we really want to see. And then again, we want to be good ambassadors on the flight training front, just to be able to promote, help facilitate pilot development and, feed into the airlines and so forth. So,
About what percentage is flight training when you think about touchdown?
95% of that, yeah. I mean, it's a very healthy chunk.
Having observed it now, what do you see as some sort of potential untapped revenue streams that our airport could help us to plug into?
Yeah, so, I mean, again, I think real estate is by far the most important commodity, just because it helps, again. So airports are a gateway to your community, right? And so I think, to me, real estate is number one. But in terms of other revenue streams, establishing partnerships with, like I mentioned, flight training, maintenance services. Maintenance is actually becoming harder and harder to find for owners of aircraft. And so if we're able to establish a good relationship with somebody that's local that would like to set up a shop, we'd be very interested in promoting that as well. I mean, and you can go broader, right? Like from a city standpoint, there are a lot of airport sponsors, meaning cities and counties, who have leveraged the airfield that does not have direct access to the runway for commercial development. So that's very, very common throughout the nation, industrial parks and so forth.
I am curious to know, because I've heard of this at a recent National League of Cities conference, and Councilmember Anderson also mentioned it here recently at Spaceport. Is that something that it seems to be like the hot topic with airports? Is that something that you see that's part of the strategic plan that we have, or is there something we're lacking, or is it just like the hot topic we're all seeing, but
Yeah, I think it's more of a hot topic. Like you have to be in pretty specific locations, right? So you have the spaceport up and down the coast of Florida, Texas, the southern Texas, where SpaceX is doing a lot of their stuff, is in a pretty rural area. And so I think that, right around the metropolitan area, it might be a little bit of a challenge. Interestingly enough, I think another area that we should be keeping an eye on are the vertical lift. So that will be interesting to see how that takes off. And I know that there's some tests that are occurring here around the metropolitan area, so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like over the next 20 plus years.
thank you.
Challenge from the mayor to city council, challenging you to help us promote our airport and make better use of it. So, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
All right, next we are going to recognize our Cross County Ministries Coalition. Is this Chief Harley Sanson?
I think we're going to welcome the leader of that group,
Okay.
Pastor Gardner, up, and then he'll have some introductions.
Okay. Garner, how you doing, man? I'm sorry. I got Chief Sansom next. Go ahead.
I'm going to call him up in just a
Do you? Okay.
But, Mayor, City Manager, Council, thank you all for allowing us to be here. We can have the family of Officer Jacob and those who come up. So, I'm Billy Gardner. I'm the president of the Cross County Ministers Coalition. Can you try to use the mic? Oh, okay. Let me go. So I'm Billy Gardner. I'm the president of the Cross County Ministers Coalition that was formed in August of 23 with an emphasis on being community-minded and community support. And so tonight we have come to honor Officer Jacob Candoza. I never met him personally, but I've had the opportunity to read the stories and hear stories about his life, and I'm saddened that I wasn't afforded the opportunity to meet him. But from the stories I've seen, and then I've seen the outpouring of support and love that everyone had for him. But so what we want to do tonight is we wanted to present the family and the police department a plaque in his memory,
in his life and his legacy. So tonight, we want to extend our heartfelt condolences to the family and to the police department for Officer Jacob Candoza. And we want to present the family and the police department with a plaque. The plaque says, "In memory of Officer Jacob Candoza, in honor of a life dedicated to service and protection, Officer Candoza served the city and citizens of Terrell with courage, compassion, and commitment. His sacrifice will forever be remembered. End of watch, December 8, 2024. Rest in peace, Cross County Ministers Coalition." We ask that you would accept this on behalf of the Cross County Ministers Coalition in memory of Officer Jacob Candoza.
Yeah, let's go forward and take a picture. Can we get a photo? Allison, do you want to get us a photo with everyone? Council members? You might need to stand on the chair. You good? Appreciate your work. Good work.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great.
This thing is not.
Mayor, as we're wrapping that up, I can't let it go unsaid that Jacob Candoza will be honored on April the 26th in Austin by being included in the State Police Memorial and being inducted into that memorial down at the state capitol. And then on May the 13th, he will be inducted into the national memorial that I believe Councilman Robeson and Councilman Velasquez were able to visit when they were up in D.C. recently. And that will be the honor to be inducted into the National Law Enforcement Memorial. So a couple of additional honors coming up for the family.
Thank you. Next, council, we've got our dispatchers that we want to recognize, and I think this will be handled by our chief, Sansom. How many do we have with us, chief?
Oh, come on up.
Come on down.
Is there 5?
Yes, sir.
All right.
That's almost all of them.
Did you? Well, I'm going to give you something to take back for it.
So as you know, last week was Telecommunicator Appreciation Week, and so we wanted to take this opportunity just to remind you we got some hardworking folks that are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, understaffed, and they're growing that staff, and we're getting there, but they are very hard workers, and we wanted to take the opportunity to recognize them.
And so, council, I'm going to tell you that I made a commitment to them when I visited them at the police station. You might want to throw something at me now, but as we get ready for our budget, I do have something that we should consider as we move forward, and I'll present that at the right and appropriate time. But they do tremendous work for the city, and we appreciate them very much. I know you do. I know all of the council does. So when it comes time for budget, let's not forget about them. Okay? And anybody have any words?
There are no words to say how grateful I am for what you hear and how you respond. The first response. So thank you.
So as a firefighter myself, I know the long hours you guys put in, the impact you have on the community, how important it is for you guys to remain calm and to kind of manage that situation before EMS or police or fire personnel arrive. So thank you so much for what you do. It's huge for our community. It's very appreciated.
Go ahead.
Yes, a big thank you to each of you for all the hard work that you do. And we're very appreciative and lucky to have you on the other end when we need to make that call.
Okay.
Same here. I'm very appreciative. I know what you do is very stressful, but you definitely save lives. Being on the other end of that call, you always want somebody to answer, and you guys do that, and we're very appreciative.
I'll just lend my applause also. I have the utmost respect for everybody. Y'all have done a wonderful job. I think we've got a great team, and same message that everybody else here has had. When the fire department saves a life, and they do, it's because it started with y'all. And when the police department protects somebody and saves somebody from something negative that might happen to them, it started with y'all. So y'all are step one to heroes, and it is greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you for what you do.
Take a picture.
Everybody but the chief gets one. I think he's already done.
I got a box of it.
Yeah, I know, right? And then this one is for, who stayed back? And we're gonna take a photo real quick with you guys.
Y'all stand in the front.
Yeah, y'all are important.
Y'all are in the front.
Thank you.
You're in the front.
Thank you.
In the front. Yes. Oh, they just need to see my hat. Oh, wait, one more.
Thank y'all again. Thank you. Good to see you. Thanks, sir. All right. Anyone else? Any
Mayor?
events? Yes.
I want to make sure that we highlight that tomorrow, well, actually today was the first day of early voting, so we have a couple of items, including a presentation that we'll have about the Juvenile Justice Center here shortly. I know Judge Russell he came back a second time after waiting to have us hear from him at the last council meeting. So I know that must mean he's eager to share about those plans. And we also have the bond, the Terrell ISD bond election that we are all supporting as a council. Then, of course, I had to save it for last. We also have a mayor's election on there. But In addition to that, we have the Terrell Jubilee that starts this Thursday and runs through Sunday. So there's plenty of crafts and fun stuff. I'm sure we'll have kiddos and running all over Bengill Park to get to the treats and all the games. So lots of fun happening this weekend.
Anyone else?
I would like to say and I don't know I think he belongs to Glenn's department. So I would like, his name is Mark, and we had a large rainstorm, and out on West End, there's a bridge, and it overflowed. But he was out there in his truck, a city truck, of course, and he was using a shovel to clear the debris so the water could flow under the bridge instead of it overflowing. And it was a precarious situation, but it was an example of our employees saying, okay, this is happening, I got a call, we're gonna take care of it. And I just wanna say thank you, because I don't know if they're gonna get a thank you, but I'm gonna say, Mark, you're out there, thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman. Anyone else? All right, the next item on the agenda is hear remarks from visitors. We do have one. Patty Yocum, if you'd come forward. Again, just state your name and address in 3 minutes.
Well, Patty Yocum, 103 Main, Terrell, Texas. Mayor, City Council, I come before you today after that wonderful positive of our police department, which they have me in their heart. I want to talk about the agenda item that's going to be discussed tonight for the food service and retail food service inspections service agreement extension. I have been made aware of inappropriate handling of inspections at 2 retail operations, Side Street Bar, who's attempting to open their kitchen, and Buffalo Wild Wings for a standard inspection. I'm aware that a meeting was scheduled with Neil Scarborough, city staff, and David Marshall for Side Street, and in hopes that the issues in question have been resolved at Side Street. But at Buffalo Wild Wings, management has told me that Mr. Marshall walked into the place like he owned it, didn't wait for the manager to walk with him, was impatient, and just really not cooperative with the process. And the manager over there is Amanda. I just know of these 2 personally, but where there's a few, there may be more. And before voting to extend Mr. Marshall's contract for 2 years, I would hope that the problems I personally passed to city staff have been resolved in an attempt to find out if there are any other issues with how Mr. Marshall conducts himself in our businesses requiring his inspections. So perhaps maybe some type of survey can be given to businesses after their inspections. I know this requires additional work, but answering the survey is voluntary, but perhaps Mr. Marshall, if he's aware of the survey, he would correct his handling of inspections. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Next item on the agenda is public hearings and city council action. So we're at 4.1. Conduct a public hearing to receive comments regarding voluntary annexation on approximately 276.6 acres of land located in the city's extra ETJ and adjacent to contiguous to the city of Terrell, Texas. This is going to be handled by our city manager, Mike Sims.
So, Mayor and Council, this is going to be in Ordinance 3101, and I'm going to ask that we flip over to agenda item page 18, if that's okay, Dawn. And you can see the map in there. We've discussed this before. You've heard this at a previous meeting. This is a voluntary annexation request from Hunt Petroleum, and they're the owner of 2,600 acres right in that vicinity. This is over 270 acres. You can find this by going directly out Airport Road. You look across the street from AutoZone, Lineage, and Longhorn Manufacturing. You can see that acreage that they wish to annex into the city limits. So again, it's a voluntary annexation, and happy to have Katie Smith, who represents Hunt Petroleum Oil, here as well, and just happy to bring forward a voluntary annexation.
Okay. All right, this is a public hearing, so we will conduct a public hearing. We are now taking comments on this item. Is there anyone here to talk for or against this item? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and move on to item 4.2, discuss and consider ordinance number 3101, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Texas, and annexing approximately 276.6 acres of land located in the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction and adjacent and contiguous to the Terrell city of Terrell, Texas, as described and/or depicted in Exhibit A, which is attached here to and incorporated herein for all purposes, and extending the boundary limits of said city as so as to include the hereinafter described property within the corporate limits of the City of Terrell, Texas, granting to all the inhabitants of said property all the rights and privileges of the citizens of the City of Terrell, binding said inhabitants by all of the acts, ordinances, resolutions, and regulations of said city, providing for amending and correcting the official boundaries of the City of Terrell, Texas, as heretofore adopted, providing that the city manager and the city staff to undertake certain actions relative to said annexation, providing in its severability clause, and providing for said ordinances to take effect and be in force from and after its passage regarding upcoming public hearing. This is going to be handled by, is there anyone here from staff to talk about this?
Mayor, just same story. This was originally started back in January when council approved the development agreement associated with the land. And since that time, we've just been working through the process to get ourselves to this point in the annexation process.
And we have discussed this previously, council. So does anybody have any questions for Mike on this particular property? Yes.
Oh, sorry. I have a question. This is just 276.6 acres of land. If I'm not mistaken, we're going to be talking about this later on in the meeting tonight.
So agenda items tonight include a second reading on an ETJ expansion, which is also some Hunt Petroleum land, but not this same exact piece of land. And there's an item on the consent agenda for the TERS ordinance that was a second reading on that TERS ordinance.
Okay, so based on what is going to be used, this land is going to be used for, is this where they're asking to be annexed in, right? This is just.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then there is going to be, after that happens, we're going to find out how they're going to use the land?
No, ma'am. The zoning item that was on the April the 7th agenda and passed unanimously by council is the land use on this particular piece of land. That's that light industrial distribution center.
Okay, okay. So how many trucks are going to be, did you do a study on?
Yeah, so there's a TIA that is going to be shown to the Planning and Zoning Commission on Thursday because that's connected with the construction plat step. And so that information's available. That's in the construction plat step.
How many trucks are going to be coming through?
They park over 1,000, and so I don't have a number of daily traffic off the top of my head, but there's over 1,000 truck parking places.
So we're looking at, okay, wait a minute. So who else worked on this? Who else knows about this? Where is that study?
That traffic impact analysis will be at the May the 6th City Council meeting for you.
So we're looking at 1,000 parking spots.
Yes, ma'am.
So am I looking at over 400 to 500 trucks moving down the road?
I'd be happy to get you a copy of that TIA. It'll be available.
You know,
Yeah.
last time, we spent a lot of time talking about truck traffic
Yes, ma'am.
and all of that. So this time, we're looking at more truck traffic? And it's okay? Is that how do we talk about that now or later?
I'll have to defer to the
Yeah,
mayor
no,
on that.
so-
I don't.
So this is the project that is closer to I-20, right off of Airport Road. The discussion that we had prior in legal, I don't know if I can get into that or not, or is... So it's just information, but the concern there was 429 and all the residents. This one is going to use 20. It's right there at the exit. I don't know that we can say who it is, but it's project
This is the one that is under the name Project Spitfire,
Spitfire.
and it's a.
So we've talked about Spitfire
Right,
before.
but,
Yeah.
so we're talking about I-20 down 34,
Everything associated with
Airport
Spitfire.
Road,
Yes, everything
to
associated with
Industrial
Spitfire.
Boulevard.
Yes.
Right now,
I'm-
right
Go to Airport Road.
I just want to answer your question correctly. Longhorn Manufacturing is what it's across the street from. Longhorn Manufacturing being just to the west of I-20, right off of Airport Road. And that's their location. Their traffic impact analysis determined that there was a need for, I believe, some left turn improvements on that four-lane divided median roadway and some right turn lanes at that location as well. And the step where we normally concern ourselves with the truck traffic issue is during the construction plat phase. And that's a Thursday of this week planning and zoning meeting, and that's a May 6th city council meeting.
Okay, so the reason I'm asking the question is, we're going to have I know we're going to have a lot of truck traffic. I anticipate it's going to be an exorbitant amount. The reason I'm asking is, in light of us making this decision, we have to be aware that in committee, in the legislature, in Austin, is a bill to put in mixed-use living places in industrial areas. So that's coming down the pike, which means 34 and 20, if that open land in front of that area belongs to a developer, they can put homes and houses in that area. That's long-term. I'm just saying that in the meantime, if we're gonna talk about how we're going to grow as a city and where we're going, I'm thinking 600 trucks an hour is a lot.
If I may, I say this as the sole member of council who voted against the development agreement for this deal. But I think a key factor here, if you'll remember, is that this particular developer was going to build this facility regardless of us being in the city limits or not. And we opted that it might be a more beneficial situation for them for it to be annexed, so we have some more controls over things, so that we're getting some benefits from the facility as opposed to them being
Yes.
external to the city. So it's when we didn't have the kind of controls you're talking
just
about over.
I just wanted to make my point know that yes, when we make this decision, there's other things that are coming down the pike
Yes.
in relation to development.
Yes. Okay. Duly noted. Anyone else? All right, is there a motion on ordinance number 3101?
Motion to approve ordinance number 3101.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Phil, our Mayor, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Phil Robinson, a second from District 3, Mayor Ronnie Velazquez, to approve ordinance number 3101 as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is boards and commissions. Discuss and consider zoning board of adjustments, appointments, reappointments. This is our city secretary, Don Stahl.
Mayor and council, in your packet is the zoning board of adjustments roster. We do have one open vacancy on this board. Dina Boyd is now on the TERS board. There were several applications in the packet, and this falls under the oversight of Phil Robinson.
All right, Councilman, you have a
I
recommendation?
do have an appointee, and I believe he's here currently. Wanted to appoint Joshua Kidd to the zoning board of adjustments. So I'd like to make that motion that we appoint Joshua Kidd to our zoning board of adjustments.
Are you going to let him speak to the council?
No, he can't speak. You can't say anything, bud, sorry. Certainly, if you'd like to come up. and speak.
No, I'm giving the council. All right, okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We We have a motion from our Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, District 5, Phil Robinson, a second from Mayor Ronnie Velazquez, District 3, to appoint Mr. Kidd to our Zoning Board of Adjustments. Is there any further discussion?
I just wanted to thank you for volunteering to serve the city. It's much appreciated. Hope to get more volunteers. You can go to our website to find the application to apply for a board. Anyone who's interested in doing that, we do need some more volunteers. So please take the time to go out there and check into it.
Exactly. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous vote of the president. Our next item on the agenda is discuss and consider appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Again, this is our City Secretary, Don Stock.
Mayor and council, the Planning and Zoning Commission roster is in your packet. We have one vacant position. Matt Malone resigned recently, and there were several applications in the packet, and this falls under the oversight of Mayor Ronnie Velazquez.
Okay. Councilwoman, you have a recommendation?
Tonight, I'm going to motion to postpone to give me a little bit more time to reach out to some more applicants.
Gotcha. There's a motion to postpone. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Mayor Ronnie Velazquez, District 3, a second from Stephanie Holmes Thomas, Mayor Pro Tem, District 4, to postpone item 5.2 until our next council meeting.
Yes, that May 6th, okay, can't be any sooner? No, May 6th would be fine.
May the 6th, all right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is 6.1. These are discuss and consider resolution number 2218 regarding the Kaufman County Juvenile Detention Center bond proposal. This is going to be handled by our senior policy analyst, Amara Mata.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I have Judge Russell and Mr. Ramsey here to discuss the Kaufman County Juvenile Detention Center. So I'll let them come forward and kind of take it over.
Hello.
Your Honor.
My name is Joseph Russell. I'm the judge for the County Court at Law. The County Court at Law handles all of the juvenile crime in our county, every case from the lowest misdemeanor all the way up to the highest felony. I've been representing juvenile clients as a defense lawyer for 25 years in Kaufman County. So I've seen the numbers rise and the seriousness of the crimes rise. Whereas before we used to have almost all of the probation offers were just 1-year probation because most of these kids were committing criminal mischief and thefts and minor fights. Now we have aggravated assaults, aggravated robberies, evading in a motor vehicle, engaging in organized crime, much more serious offenses that involve firearms, more and more and more. And not only are we arresting children with firearms, we're arresting children with firearms that have pointed them at people, that have shot at people, that have actually started using these firearms. We have kids with ARs, we have kids with Glocks, and they're not afraid to exhibit them. And so part of the probation office's job is to come up with the resources to address these issues. And what we're hoping for is that the Kaufman County residents and the citizens of our county will see the need and see that this is something worth passing and supporting. As judge, I can't ask for any citizen to vote for it or to vote against it. What I can tell you is that there is a rising need, and we need a resource that's tailored to address that need. And if we had that, I can promise you, as the judge in the court, as well as knowing Mr. Ramsey, it would be used efficiently and smartly. And I'll let Mr. Ramsey take over from there.
Good evening, everyone.
Like he said, I'm the Chief Juvenile Probation Officer for Kaufman County Juvenile Probation Department. I've been at the probation department for about 30 years this year. And as you know, the county has grown, and we're experiencing tremendous growth, and with that growth comes crime. So at this point, we are at the need for the detention center. We did a study several months ago, a feasibility study to see what size and scope of a facility we need. At that time, we determined that 32 beds would be appropriate for us. He went all the way out to 2050. At that time, at 45 beds, so we were right there in the middle. We had a good spot. That bed, not only will the building house the detention center, it also will house the probation department. We're in the building, the old post office in Kaufman, and we are out of space there. We cannot hire any more staff because we have no more room. Also, we will house a JJAP, which if kids are expelled from Terrell DAP, they'll be allowed to come to our school on our campus. That'll keep kids out of trouble, off the streets, and in school. So the total square footage will be 34,000 feet. It serves three purposes: for the probation department, the JJAP, and the detention center. We think that'll be a great access for our county, because right now what we are doing, we are sending kids as far east as Marshall, far south as Victoria County, far west as Midland, and all the way up to Grayson County. And the kicker is, if they don't have a bed, we have to release these kids back to the community. And that's what keeps us up at night. Because I had to let kids go that had been arrested for guns, car full of guns, and we didn't have any place to put these kids. So by having this detention center, that will help us a lot. The cost is $37 million. I know it sounds a lot, but it's on an average house of $311,000. It'll be $25. It'll increase your taxes $25 a year, or $2.50 per month. So I think that's a pretty good price for what we are asking for, as we know at that time we have more control and we'll be able to house these kids and keep the county safe.
Okay. So a couple of questions. You're going to put everything under one roof?
Yes.
So it's going to make you more efficient?
Yes.
Operation for the county, for all the municipalities that participate with the county. Then by doing so, you're going to be more cost effective, which is in the long run would save the county and our residents funds as well, right?
That's correct.
And the county, municipalities within the county have first rights to the beds.
That is correct.
All right. So that Terrell, if we needed a bed, we would have a bed.
Most definitely.
Most likely, okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments? I'm supportive of it.
And you said the average tax increase would be about $2.50 per month, $2.50 per month for the average resident, correct?
On a $311,000 house, that's what the average taking.
Okay. And the average appraised home in Terrell, the Terrell area, is about $180,000, I believe, so $186,000. So that is probably more than most would be paying.
Right, it'd be lower than that because it's
Quite a
more
bit
than
lower.
300, yes.
Okay, thank you.
JJEP, when I hear JJEP, I think preventative. Would that be accurate?
Yes, what it is kids, it's twofold purpose. Kids that are expelled from the determined DAP from the school district, and also discretionary. If they're having trouble with these kids, and they're like, look, these kids do not need to be on the main campus, those kids also will be allowed to come to this facility as well. So that's exactly what you're saying. We're going to offer school services and also mental health services and other services to get these kids back to the main. Our goal is to get them back to the main campus.
And how, the model that you're looking at for the JJEP program, how is that both similar and different from other JJEPs in the state of Texas?
Well, when I talk to the state, which regulates us, we will customize it for Kaufman County. Every JJP is it's basically the same thing, education, but you can run and make agreement with each school district how you want. It will be, Kaufman ISD will be over it, but each ISD in the county will be allowed to send their kids if they're expelled from their school district to this school.
And each ISD will get to contract with Kaufman ISD for the number of beds they might want to reserve or then use.
And are other JJPs in the state, do they also contract with nearby counties that do not have their own JJP?
Yes, we can do that as well.
Okay. And how many beds will the JJP have?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, we anticipate, when talking with Kaufman ISD, about 25. There's 32 that would be in detention, and then 25 that would be there for the alternative education program. We anticipate with the detention that right now we would have 10 to 15 kids on average in detention. The remainder, we would be letting other counties come to us and set up, not memorandums, but contracts for what they would pay for us to house their detention, juveniles in our detention center. So from 2027 until 2050, we're going to need more and more and more beds. But we're going to build it where we can expand this. So we're doing 32 beds because we want it divisible by 8, so that there's a teacher and a para for 8 children, as well as a jailer. So there's reasons why the numbers fit as they do. And we know the demand is there because we're having to compete with these other counties for beds already. And we know that there's a demand in our area for a detention center because Dallas has issues, Hunt County is closed. You know, there's nothing really local for all the counties that are touching us as well.
And I'm curious to know, why did Hunt County close?
That's a good question. We don't know. We've heard several different reasons. Cost, and another one is they thought about trying to get a contract with the federal inmates. That contract is more, they could make money off that facility. So we really don't know. We know it was closed back in 2016, and at that time, we decided to contract with Dallas County. But since then, Dallas County is no longer contracting out. So we are at the mercy of all the rest of the counties that we can find beds.
And the model for the JJP, I believe I heard that that's going to be something that, is there a advisory board? Is it those that are ahead of that are right, the executive director of the facility? Is that our county judge? Who?
The probation department, it will reside with us. We will be over it, but Kaufman ISD will run it. So Kaufman ISD will set up, the curriculum, everything to make sure those kids getting the schooling that they need.
Okay, that's helpful to know. I earlier I was telling the mayor reminding the mayor that about 9 years ago now, I just had my anniversary where I transitioned from Kaufman Child Protective Services in the conservatorship unit, and then now I'm in the behavioral health side over at Children's Health, formerly Children's Medical Center, and so I know the importance of prevention.
Yes.
And providing those tools sooner than later. That way, hopefully, they're not having to go on the other side of, like, on the detention side, right? And so it was very important for me to hear that, hear those answers. And at the same time, some of the questions that I've seen on like social media is, well, what are you doing to prevent? What are you doing? What are we doing so we hopefully one day don't have to have a detention center? So it's helpful for me to be able to learn.
I'll tell you some of our services. Right now, what we're doing, we do grief counseling, individual, family counseling, drug education, drug recovery. We do equine therapy in the summertime. We do life skills classes. We do community service. Every kid that goes to detention, if Judge Russell order a psychological evaluation, that is done on every kid before they're released. We do home studies to make sure the home is appropriate for these kids to be released. So that's just on the front end that we are doing. We're doing a lot of different things. And if that don't work, sometimes we have to remove them from the home. But we try these services in the beginning.
That's a lot of wraparound services.
It's a lot, yes, ma'am.
And the JJAP is for those children that haven't yet committed a crime or risen to the level of a serious crime. We're trying to get ahead of it. And the same is for the detention as well, but we're going to always need a detention center because you can't rehabilitate every kid based on the circumstances and facts. That's just the facts. We have this crime and we have to deal with it. The issue is are we going to allow other counties to look after our children, to hire the jailers to do it? Are we going to be able to use our own counselor that we like and provide these services, or are we going to be subject to the other counties and their practices? So it gives us some autonomy in how we're going to handle the issue instead of just relying on the other counties that are doing it.
Thank you.
Somebody have?
What input would other ISDs have, knowing that you guys are running it, or what leverage would they have? Because I don't want something with the pet adoption thing. I don't want that. We want to have some leverage. We're still a part of that faster growing county in the U.S. What leverage would we have as TISD?
Well, I was just talking to your superintendent probably about 20 minutes ago, and the plan is, if it passes in September, I'm going to meet with all the superintendents in our county and the representative from the state, and what we're going to do is come up with the appropriate program for our school, and make sure with the memorandum of understanding that Tara will have their seat to the table as well. Everybody will be represented, because it's going to be open to every school district in the county.
And the school districts in the county obviously take priority. The kids
Yes.
that we're having issues with take priority. If we happen to have kids from other counties that are there, but we have kids that come up that need it, the kids in other counties, those counties now have to find an alternative. We don't anticipate that for a while, right? I mean, we're going to be able to handle the numbers for a while now.
Right.
But as we grow, Kaufman County will take, we're not going to have a disservice to our own county for what we paid for this.
And that's what I was wondering. If we have a growing need, what would be the benefit, especially later, to contract some of those beds out? Would it be an instance where we couldn't take care of our own kids because we've contracted those beds out to other counties?
No. Kaufman County always will we get first dibs of those beds because it's our facility. You can do it pre, or you can just do it on a daily basis, and that's what we would do to make sure those beds are set aside for our kids first. We got to service our kids first.
Councilwoman, can I add something maybe so in your interlocal agreement, the one that you have,
Yeah.
it's going to be specific that says the county municipalities will have first rights
Yes.
in writing.
Yes.
Okay, I would say make sure you get it in writing, because if you don't, that's not good. So in your interlocal agreement, it will specify that.
Right.
Okay, Councilwoman.
I don't see a kid being displaced if we've contracted some of those beds out and now we need that bed. How would that happen? I don't think you're gonna displace a kid because we had this unusual high activity or whatever. I mean, I'm just looking down the road going,
How are we going to make it work?
yeah.
Well, I mean, for instance, now, if we have children that are housed in another detention center in Tom Green County, first of all, at any time, if that kid is acting up, they can say, we don't want this kid anymore. Or if any other issue comes up, we now have to find a bed for them in the middle of the night sometimes. So it would be the exact same with our county. If there's a kid that's putting other kids in danger, we don't want him any longer. It's no longer worth the money that county is paying us for. We have the ability to send that kid. So if another kid from our county needs the bed, we have the ability and the authority to release the other child to their county. Now they have to find another detention center. But I don't anticipate that being a problem for a while.
But Van Zandt County is a much smaller facility. I mean, they've called us on Friday night. We've got calls on Christmas Eve. They need that room. They're gonna keep those kids out. And then, you know, we have to go and find another facility. So, I mean, it just comes with the territory.
Thank you.
But we will go first.
And each ISD is going, in this meeting and other meetings, they're gonna work it out between all themselves as far as what beds they wanna reserve, what they think their need will be, and then, you know, that might change year to year.
The only question I have is, who is taking care of the staff dealing with this issue? You're dealing with troubled youth that may or may not have troubled families, and you are trying to help the situation. Who is helping you and your staff? Is that built into this? Or is you get hired, do the people that work there have a place to, not necessarily vent, but to be taken care of emotionally?
Right. That's one of the things why this facility is gonna be a step above all the rest of them, so we can prevent a lot of those issues. One thing they do is just natural lighting coming in would help lessen some of the things. And I think it's all important, the administrator that's gonna be over the facility, which Jay and I and the judge, we're gonna have to hire. We're gonna have to hire the right people to run this facility. That's just with everything. But you gotta pay them, and our goal is to pay them comfortable to Collin County, make sure we get the right people in place. We don't want to do any harm, no more harm than we need to.
We haven't gone to Dallas and want to model ourselves after them. We know that is not working. We're dealing with Tarrant County, we're dealing with Collin County, we're dealing with Georgetown. The facilities we know that are running efficiently with no issues, and in fact, they're growing. The architect, we interviewed several architects before we chose this architect who's building detention centers across the nation. And he has several in the process now. So he knows costs. You know, the numbers we're trying to get as real as possible so there are no shocks. So we're trying to use we want to be as successful as possible, and the way to do that is model ourselves after the ones that are successful. And they know the problems that we may not know yet. Right. Those are the ones, you know, that we can anticipate, and there will not be a square foot in this place that is not videotaped. There will not be locked doors on their individual rooms. There's many things that need to take place to make sure this is a safe facility for all the children. So it's rehabilitation, but it's also, some kids respond differently to different motivations. We want to have all the resource available for all the kids.
So I've heard it described as state-of-the-art when it comes to safety and operation. Is that accurate?
That is very much accurate.
Okay, all right. Anyone else? Again, this is a resolution in support of the Kaufman County Juvenile Detention Center and the bond proposal. All right. 1-8.
2218.
Make a motion, someone has to.
Yes. Is there a motion on resolution 2218?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve resolution number 2218 regarding the Kaufman County Juvenile Detention Center bond proposal.
Great, motion. Second?
Second.
We have a motion from Donna Renee Anderson, District 2, a second from Phil Robinson, our Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, District 5, to approve resolution number 2218 as presented regarding the Kaufman County Juvenile Detention Center bond proposal. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Judge, Your Honor.
Thank you guys
for being here.
very much. Appreciate you.
The next item on the agenda. is 6.2, discuss and consider ordinance number 3102 on second reading, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Texas, expanding the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction and establishing an effective date. Mr. Sims?
So, Mayor and Council, it's a little bit unusual for us to have a second reading in our regular business items, but there is a rule that we're following here associated with making sure that the extraterritorial jurisdiction voluntarily expands prior to the creation of a tax increment refinance zone on the exact same piece of land. So this was approved by the City Council on the April the 7th meeting. I bring it forward again just to make sure that we're doing all of our dotting of i's and crossing of t's correctly. Again, just as a reminder, it's the 2,600 acre Hunt Petroleum Oil tract that's on the far east side of town, and the portion that's outside of the current ETJ is just the little strips along the very far east end along Interstate 20. They just happen to be a little bit further than a mile out of the city limit line. And as Hunt looked at this, we looked at this, we thought, well, better to treat the overall tract all the same rather than having parts in and parts out. And so that's the reason that we're moving it forward. And again, it's a voluntary petition.
This is for legal purposes. Yes, sir. All right. Anybody have any questions? Again, this is ordinance number 3102 on second reading. Is there a motion?
I do have a quick question, actually.
Yes.
Help me understand why we would be expanding the ETJ as opposed to negotiating a voluntary annexation agreement.
The general theory has been on the Fairfield mud land, the 2,600 acres, to do a series of sequential annexations, meaning that if the land's just going to be out being agricultural, no reason to bring it in immediately. And the strategy is, as we expect to see development on it, we'll just do one piece at a time. As this is the furthest east chunks of the land, they really just need to be in the ETJ so that they can eventually be treated the same. But with 2,600 acres, you would expect it's going to take a long time before they really move forward to develop all of that land.
Okay. So the TERS will be contained within the ETJ. That's not typically the approach, right? Usually most TERS are in.
I would say that it's a
limits.
mix. We did the North Spur development was originally outside the city limits, and we needed to create the TERS, expand the ETJ, blah, blah, blah first.
And later
And
annex.
Exactly, yeah. Same thing with Arboretum Estates. So
Okay.
it's a model we've used before.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Is there a motion on ordinance number 3102?
Motion to approve ordinance number 3102.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Have a motion from Mayor Ronnie Velasquez, District 3, a second from Bill Robinson, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, District 5, to approve ordinance number 3102 on second reading. As presented, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous vote of the president. Our next item on the agenda is discuss, consider legislative positions. This is going to be our senior policy analyst, Myra Mata.
I'm going to introduce Amira Mata by saying she's doing a wonderful job on legislation in a very difficult legislative year. So thank you, Amira.
We have 5 more weeks, so here we are. Mayor and council, good news is I don't bring anything forward that's gonna, shock you guys or anything. I just bring more of an update, kind of following the resolution that was approved unanimously by council on March 26th. That was allowing the city manager to follow up with the mayor on correspondence, kind of following bills, figuring out what positions we stand, making sure we're getting information. So that's what I'm coming to you today, kind of giving you an update and following up on that. There we go. Oh. I turned it on. It doesn't like me. That's okay. So on the state level, we have been in contact with both of our representative office. Their staff has been awesome. We have included a lot of correspondence as well as questions, clarifications, and modifications to bills getting passed through and up for vote. I'm happy to share that with you if you have any specific questions on any of that. I didn't want to put them all in one, but if you have any questions on any specific ones, I'm happy to bring that forward. On the federal level, we have been in good contact with Congressman Gooden's office. I listed some of the funding as far as grants. Ms. Raylan Smith has been really good about getting information with all of those projects, as well as Mr. Snap in regards to what we're doing. And then on the next page, there's some correspondence that we sent regarding the SAFER grant over to Mr. Gooden's office. And on the next slide, you'll see that we have gotten a letter directly in support of our funding from Mr. Gooden, Congressman Gooden, in regards to that funding. So we have gotten good correspondence there. And then moving forward, just some more fun things to keep everyone busy. Thinking into 2026, I know that we just kind of wrapped up NLC, but we have to start thinking forward because we're moving fast. And so I know the mayor currently serves on the Community and Economic Development Board, which is a federal advocacy committee, and Councilman Anderson also serves on the Public Safety and Crime Prevention Board. They also both serve on the Small Cities Council, which we elected for them to be our city representatives there. And so moving forward, if we are wanting to kind of move up and get more involved as far as any kind of leadership positions on the NLC Board of Directors, any of the advocacy committees, any of the member councils or constituency groups, we will need to have those applications in by the end of September. So applications are going to open up soon. Those will require resumes and endorsements from our state level, which is TML. And so that's kind of a process, a few steps that we need to get moving forward, kind of in the process so we don't fall behind. I know Ms. Anderson, Councilwoman Anderson has had interest into pursuing that. So on the next slide, I kind of gave you guys a little breakdown of any of those positions. If you would be interested, look over them, see if any of those catch your eye, and then get with me, and we'll make sure that you have all of the right items that you need to move forward and represent us there. And then also on more of a county-based, Leadership Kaufman County, I know a couple of you have gone through this program, but I just wanted to bring it forward and make sure that you guys are aware of Leadership Kaufman County. It is a 9-month program. It is a county-wide class. Applications will open up in the summer, and the first class will start in September. So if that is something that you haven't been through, I highly encourage that. I know that we have a couple of staff members that go through it each year as well. So that's very good to make connections, get plugged in, get more information over the county. And then on the North Texas side of it, look at the regional level. We also have Leadership North Texas. I know Mayor Carmona has gone through this a couple of years ago. And this is a graduate level, kind of your next step following Leadership Kaufman County. This is more of a regional. It involves all 13 counties in the North Texas region. Those applications have opened up and will be open until May of 2025. And then following up, those applications come in yearly. So that's something for you to also think about.
So I will just add in that we normally send 2 or 3 staff people through the first version, the Kaufman County Leadership Program. And if any elected officials would like to go through that program, just let Omira know, and she'll work on getting you set up to do that. It's an absolutely terrific program, and it is also a requirement if you want to get into the Leadership North Texas. They won't take you unless you went through a local program first. So just reach out to Omira if you're interested in doing that 2-step approach.
And then just to recap, it was mentioned earlier, but early voting has begun, and we do have both resolutions from the council, one for Terrell ISD and for the Kaufman County Juvenile Detention Center, for city council recommendation to support both of those. So thank y'all for that. And that's all I have if y'all have any questions.
Yep. So as we move forward with the leadership stuff, I know that there's commitments of time for travel and meetings.
Yes, sir.
Can we make sure that the council's aware of those if they show interest, and then
Absolutely, yes, sir.
cost of travel or whatever it is, which I think is well worth it to have our city representative at the state and federal level, but just be sure that you understand those, okay? Right, good. Thank you, Myra.
Omira, thank you very much.
Myra, I do have a question for you or for our engineer, Chris Knapp, or city manager, Mike Sims, regarding the EPA Vander Horst environmental remediation. So last time in April, the process, I understand that in April, there was going to be like a review of the current plans. And at the same time, due to the federal funding or lack of, with traveling and staff cuts, we were unsure of where that project may be and continuing to move forward. So I'm curious to know what we know and what support we've
I
been
think
able to
Chris Knapp probably is the best one to answer that.
So as you know, there's been a little bit of cut of funds in the government. So one of their issues, when I spoke with you a couple of months ago, they indicated that just going out to do on-site meetings, we're having to get 2-week pre-approval. So that has put a damper on trying to coordinate meetings and things of that nature. Nothing has changed since we talked a couple months ago. They were regrouping, and when I say regrouping, they were re-engineering what their plan of attack and remedial work that's going to be accomplished. The wells, the injection wells are installed, but they're not in service. So they were looking at, when they were doing some of their site survey for the initial work, the level of contaminant was deeper than they anticipated. So they dug down 6 inches, they found some chromium. They dug down another 6 inches, they still found some chromium. They dug down another 6 inches, and they found chromium. And then that's when they stopped, because they want to say, okay, we're going to have to regroup. Because all that was extra costs from the contractor that they have contracted out. So they were going to re-engineer what their plan was going to do, and then go back to that contractor and have it rebid. So say all that to say this, you're still got plenty of time that they're still deciding.
Because there's a upcoming meeting with Stallings on the first Monday of May, and I want to make sure that, and I want to have the city support on providing the most update.
We would be happy to do that. I'm going to tell you, first off, for those of you listening who don't know this location, this is vaguely at the corner, or exactly at the corner of Grove and Delphine. And so that's where this is. There used to be a chromium plating plant there. All of the above-ground cleanup already happened. This is about the groundwater that has trickled away from that site, which is a big problem. And the EPA was going to be cleaning in that area. So that's just background for anybody listening. We will get you as much up to date as we possibly can for that meeting. We'll make sure that we have a staff person who is versed in it at that meeting. I just can't promise that we'll know lots of really hard facts at that time, because getting facts out of the EPA right now is pretty tough.
Very, very difficult to get a schedule.
I anticipate the questions because I have these questions and trying to think back to everything that the EPA has shared and U.S. staff have shared, but what are the, if this is a standstill, what are the implications for those living in that area where that water runoff happens? And then 2, how much can we count on our Congress folks, on our legislators to help advocate, to help move this along?
So let me make sure I'm really clear about something, because this is why I want to bring up what's actually going on out there. The environmental cleanup, for which the EPA already spent something like $5 million, where the building was demolished, they excavated soil and put a clay cap at the corner of Grove and Delphine, so that when it rains, there isn't some additional chromium spreading down the street. That's a really important point. What we're talking about here is in the soil, and when the chromium will be pulled through the soil by different water that's moving through the soil. Okay, that's what we're worried about here. So you got to go dig a hole to identify it. And the frustration we've had with the EPA is because it's all underground now, and you have to dig a hole to expose yourself to chromium, they don't classify it as an urgent problem anymore. They spent money on urgent problem when they did the $5 million project. Now they won't rank it high enough as an urgent problem. We, of course, truly believe it continues to be urgent, but it's not something a citizen gets exposed with unless they go dig a hole. And so it's a problem, and we want it fixed, but I just want to be clear about how you might get exposed there. Now, given that, Chris is more than free to correct me on any of that, but Elmira, you want to mention a little bit maybe about how we're trying to engage with Lance Gooden's office to make sure that they're helping?
We did send a policy agenda with all that information that Mr. Snap provided, kind of just summarizing the project, where we are, what we need going forward, and that has been sent to his office, and keeping constant communication, making sure that we're coming back and forth. I haven't received anything in writing like the letter that you saw for the SAFER, but I'll make sure to bring that up and have a conversation on that to get an update before the Stallings meeting to see.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
As usual, and staff is very supportive of being present at the first meeting of the, in this case, month of May for Stallings. So would appreciate staff to support again.
All right, Elmira, thank you so much for the work you're doing on all of this. I know it's a lot of moving parts. My question in regards to the SAFER grant, I want to make sure that all contingencies are being planned, in case that doesn't come through for us, that we've got the budget in place for the staffing of Fire Station 3. The last thing we want is to build this facility and not be able to staff it. I know even beyond just the giant budgetary issues with staffing 15 firefighters, it's just being able to hire that many. It's hard to get that many applicants. What are we doing to kind of plan for the contingency that we don't get the grant, and what steps are we taking currently?
So I did a write-up with Fire Chief LaCroix on that in the most recent manager notes, and I'll see how much of that I have memorized and can rattle off for you. Under the current hiring process, under the current most recent firefighter test, we have 8 remaining applicants who are going through the background check process. Just out of experience, we would estimate that 4 of those people would be able to be hired. That would mean that 2 of those people would fill vacancies from retirements, and 2 of those people would count as part of our group of 15. So good. Next, the next phase of testing will occur in July. As you know, we have to have lag periods and wait. We have to run the full list out to exhaustion before we test again. So we'll do another test in July, and under that, we're going to try to beef up our advertising for that, hopefully, and it's only hopeful, right? We can hire 6, 7, something like that out of that group. I don't want to be overly ambitious about it. We've never hired 8 out of a group, right? So that's tough doings, right? So we'll hire as many as we possibly can out of the July test. Those people would be available to start in October. That would give us a chance to do a November test. November test folks would be able to start in February. So that, again, trying to hire 6, maybe 7, maybe out of that October test. If we can piece together 15 out of those 3 tests, one current, the July test, and the November test, then we would get full staffing of 15, in theory, available in February. Now, you and I both know that I just laid out an aggressive and high goal, right? If we don't get them all by February, then we'll have time for a 4th phase test and rotate that in. Right now, the opening day of the Fire Station 3 is slated for June of 2026, given the current construction schedule. And so we're just plodding on through that process of trying to get the hiring done. I think you're spot on right to say that one of the biggest challenges in the FY26 budget will be dealing with the new firefighters. And let me just say that I should hold that discussion until we get to the budget talks. But absolutely, it's top of mind, and we're confident that we're going to be able to work through that.
We feel that we can have a successful budget if we don't get the SAFER. It's not going to break our budget.
It's not going to break our budget, but I will tell you that we will be much happier with our budget if we get that grant. So I'm going to prepare for the worst in the budget. Worst is we don't get the grant, or they don't even open up the grant opportunity. That's worst case scenario. That's appropriate for us to plan for. That's how your budget will be built. It will be built with the assumption that we do not receive those funds.
Okay.
And as a reminder, that's roughly $5 million that would be available for supplementing firefighters' salaries over a 3-year period. And if we get it, great, that's good, but we will not build the budget assuming we get that grant.
Good. And to be clear, if we're not able to hire 15 firefighters, we can't open Station 3 in June of 2026, right? We have to get
Now you get into the overtime, blah, blah, blah. Discussing that with Chief LaCroix, we would say, well, if we can hire 12, we can limp. But hiring less than 12 is really going to be problematic. So.
Okay. All right, as long as we've identified that as an issue and we're addressing it accordingly.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Myra.
Anyone else? All right, thank you, Myra. Next item on the agenda is 6.4, discuss and consider resolution number 2222, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Texas, amending a policy governing the naming or renaming of city facilities, streets, and parkland. This is going to be handled by, is Mark here? Yeah, Mark, okay. Our Assistant City Manager, Mark Mills.
Mayor, Council, good evening. The item before you this evening is a slight change to our city facility naming committee policy. Oops. In your packet, there is a new copy of the policy. I was hoping it was on here on the screen, as well as a red line version. We're simply making one minor modification. Currently, we are, as we move forward, we were trying to handle the receiving of public comments as a public hearing type event. We're going to do it as a workshop, and instead of posting in the paper twice, we're proposing to post in the paper one time before the meeting.
Okay.
And that's really all it is. We would still notice in the paper, we would still put it on the website, we'd still send out the letters that we're sending out. We're sending out letters to anybody. For example, they're considering some renaming at Breezy Hill. We're not doing 200 feet from the facility, we're doing 200 feet from the outside of the park to capture as many people as we can.
Good.
But the one change this evening that we're requesting is to move from published twice in the paper to once, hopefully to speed up the process and reduce costs.
Anybody have any questions about that?
That won't
You okay?
permit notification of our people, of our citizens, right?
I don't know how many people are really getting the notification through the paper. It'll still be on our website, and we're still sending out anybody that owns property within 200 feet of the outside of the park.
How much will it reduce the, the time that people will have to prepare to come to the meeting or whatever? Are they losing a week? Are they losing?
They'd be losing a week.
So the letter gives them notice.
Depending upon when we notice, because our meeting is the third Thursday of the month. If we notice after the meeting, they're still going to have 3 weeks to prepare.
What would they have now with the process we have in place?
Essentially the same amount of time.
The committee came up with this resolution?
This was my recommendation based on some of the things that they're trying to accomplish.
Okay. And have they already made recommendations for name changes on certain streets?
So they have made a recommendation for 2 streets.
Okay.
Based on the policy that we haven't, there was issues with one of the length of one of the names. We went back to the committee, they've amended their recommendation. We have to take that to P&Z based on our policy. So those 2 streets are going to P&Z at the May 24th meeting. We are having a special meeting on May the 7th. There are 4 facilities, 3 at Breezy Hill, 1 at Ben Gill that the committee would like to name, and we're trying to accelerate those so they're available prior to the Juneteenth event.
Okay.
So that, we're moving forward with those, and we expect to have that on the agenda. So their meeting is May 7th. We expect to have that on the agenda at the May 13th council meeting, because if you recall, we're having a meeting early to canvass the election. So instead of the first and third, it's the first and second. We expect to have those 4 recommendations available for you to consider at that meeting as well. The streets are just taking a little bit longer.
Okay.
Sorry, May 22nd, not May 24th, for the P and Z meeting.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No? All right, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
This is a resolution, so we need to consider it. 6.4, resolution number 2222. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to consider resolution number, to
Approve?
approve resolution number 2222, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Terrell amending a policy governing the naming or renaming of city facilities, streets, and parkland.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion from Donna Renee Anderson, District 2, a second from Mayor Ronnie Velazquez, District 3, to approve resolution number 2222, amending a policy governing the naming or renaming of city facilities, streets, and parkland. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda, discuss and consider authorization resolution for an entertainment venue at Crossroads in Terrell. This is going to be our city manager, Mike Sims. Okay, let's recess for 5 minutes. Does I have a motion?
Make a motion.
But, okay.
I have a motion. And a second? 5 minutes.
Recessing, I guess, Mayor Ronnie had to take a potty break. Who told you? Who told you? That's Courtney told me. I just ate half. That's your candy. I've already rated it. That's yours.
You rated my
I got a Twix out of it.
Are we having competitive, are we having competitive snacks over there? Is that- You're summoned by a giant hammer.
That's the funniest part about being here. All right, ready? Are we ready? Okay, let's get on there. Our next item on the agenda is discuss and consider authorization resolution for an entertainment venue at Crossroads. This is going to be resolution number 2219. Mr. Sims?
So, Mayor and Council, we've been working on this quite some time with a really great group of partners. Everybody knows Film Alley. I'm going to admit that I had kids over at Film Alley just this weekend, and it's been a great venue for us, been a great family site for us. We started discussing with the owners of Film Alley, Schulman Partners, probably what, 18 months ago, something along those lines, the idea of doing a event center venue out right behind Film Alley. And we have finally worked all the kinks out of that opportunity, and we are absolutely thrilled to bring that forward. Y'all on council know we've talked about it in executive session a few times. It is a rather complicated agreement, so I'm not going to try to read the whole thing, but Resolution 2219 lays out the basics. First page of it gives you all the whereas, that's the background. I'll mention Moby's development. Happy to have that. 9,000 square foot indoor restaurant and bar space with another 10,000 square foot of outdoor space, occupancy for 1,000 with a design accommodating expanded events for an additional 1,000. So we can have a concert venue with 2,000 folks right out there at Crossroads. Awesome opportunity for us, and something that can really keep us on the map for a great entertainment venue. And as you all know, that's the big theory right now in retail. You want to support and maintain and keep your retail live for a long time, then have some entertainment out there at the same time. Definitely a great help. I know what they're planning on the restaurant side of it. They want this to be an absolutely wonderful restaurant, 365 days a year, and it won't just be music. When there's sporting events, they'll be able to televise sporting events and have that sort of fun as well. So what are the basic outline? It's 10 years of a sales tax reimbursement. So again, they got to bring it forward. They got to produce the sales tax. They get a reimbursement of that. They get a reimbursement of some of the maintenance and operation property taxes, again, for 10 years. 10 years of the alcohol sales tax, mixed drink sales tax come back. A marketing incentive that we will be assisting with so that we can make sure people know it's there. We're very happy that we've had the Hotel Event Center Fund available for this. That allows us to support that park. We were going to have to spend money anyway to build our parking lot for the park, and now we have a partner who can help us build the parking lot for the park. That's great news for us as well. One of the things that came up as part of this discussion is that back when Film Alley and Crossroads Academy, Hobby and Lobby and all that were originally built, the planning out there at the time from the original developer of the land was to have a fairly large billboard right up against I-20 close to the corner of American Way and Sage Hill. So that gives you an awesome opportunity to have the billboard right there where this Moby's development will be. And by providing some of the upfront funding for this, we'll be able to advertise things on that screen, and we'll get a share of that based on our share of the screen, on share of the basic price of it. So probably looking at about $1 million to build that. The city contributes $300,000. So in rough numbers, we would get 30%, depending on all of the math associated with that. So that's good news for us. We like that very much. And then we go through the rest of it. I think easiest is the visual side of it. So I'm going to ask Dawn to take us all the way back to the map. That's the very last page in this agenda item. I think it's on page 122. And maybe almost. We were so close. There we go. All right. So I tell you what, go back 2 slides. There you go. So this map shows you where Film Alley is, and you can see the aerial there where there is the big pond off to one side. There's the smaller pond in the front. My little eyes can't read the parcel number on that, but the larger of the tracks is the one that we're going to be talking about. So again, directly behind Film Alley. If you go back over to that site plan, then you're just sort of turning that on its side. And so when you turn it on its side, what do you see? Okay, so now at the bottom of this page, there's what looks like a little bridge going across the drainage way. That's part of our park grant. You've seen that before. That's the design for the park that we've had out there in the past. Well, the park is actually right now designated for this front area along American Way where the parking lot is proposed to be. And we looked at this and said, you know what? We think we've got a better way to deliver a great park for our citizens. Instead of having it fronting on American Way and having the traffic drive past it, why don't we put it between the Magnolia Grove Apartments and the Event Center, therefore enabling a little bit more safety. I could park in the Film Alley parking lot, walk across the bridge, boom, at the park. I didn't have to cross traffic, or I can park in these front parking places provided by the developer as part of this incentive program. So you can see the proposed City Park Plaza, again, public park in the green, and the Moby's development where it says stage and all of that, and that really wonderful design that they have for it all set up for that. Ample parking, and again, much better use of pedestrian space, staying out of the parking lot and managing how that works. We will have an opportunity for them to expand the stage from time to time, and where it says concert zone up there on the part in the green there, that will be an area where they will be able to have their larger events spill out over into that zone. We'll have a leasing opportunity set up for them under a separate agreement, and really just have a wonderful opportunity. So think about driving out to American Way, parking at that location, and then being able to sit, overlook the lake that's out there. You can go for a walk around the lake. You can have a nice meal, and you can have a great concert and event location. That's providing really great quality of life amenity to our citizens. I want to thank the folks who are here in the audience who helped bring this forward. Absolutely, they're the developer. Jacob Schulman's here, Nathan Schulman's here, and even I'll introduce Charles Hodges. Charles Hodges is the architect on this project, and I will just give him the kudos of saying he's so brilliant and good that he's annoying. But we like him anyway, and he's done some really nice work for us and done the architecture on some really important things in this town. So, and again, appreciate them being here, and with that, couldn't be happier to bring this forward for council consideration. Mayor, I'll hand it to you.
Thank you, Mike. Jacob, Nathan, would y'all like to say a few words to the council, or really what I'd like for you to do is to explain Moby's and the name. If one of you would please come to the council, come forward, or both of you, and tell us a little bit about the Moby's name, and I think y'all are going to find this wonderful.
Yeah, so Moby's, the name was actually, it's from our brother. So our brother passed away 8 years ago now. And he loved music, he loved hanging out, socializing, and so we've talked about this type of a concept for many years. And, yeah, when we talked about the brand and the name, yeah, we talked with Dad about, branding it Moby's, and that was just one that it resonates with us, just because it kind of, symbolizes the kind of person he was and what he enjoyed. So that's where it came from.
Oh, man, I think that's so great that you're able to honor your brother that way. One of the things that I want the council to know, understand that Schulman's is synonymous with quality. If you've been out to Film Alley, you know what I'm talking about, and the bowling and the activity center there for the kids, which my grandson loves. I spent more money than I need to there, but so they know what they're doing, and they're a great family-oriented company. The other thing you need to know is if there's any sporting events, chances are it's going to be Texas A&M playing on the big screen and everybody else on the little screen. But that's all right. We can make that work. They're all A&M graduates, I think.
Yes, sir.
yeah,
Yep.
We were so thankful to have you in this community. And we always knew back when I was on the EDC and we were working with the Schulmans trying to get them here, and I would tell them, hey, if you got to believe in the city of Terrell, and you got to believe that you're going to do great, because it's a market that isn't just Terrell, but it's the county, and it's held true. I think Moby's is going to be the same way for you. I'm just excited. The only person more excited than I am is the councilman to my right.
Okay.
When he first heard about this, man, he's mayor, we got to get this done. And the hard work that all of the council have done. Yeah. Yeah. So the work that all of these guys have done to support Mike's work and our staff's work, we're excited for you guys.
Thank you.
So thank you for being here. Does anybody have any questions for Jacob or Nathan?
I do just want to say, first of all, I recognize you guys from your preview before I see a movie. So it's like celebrities are here, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, we love Film Alley so much. My son can't get enough of that arcade, going there, running around and doing fun stuff. So just such a valuable part of our community. And I just can't tell you how excited I am about this particular project. It's the exact kind of thing that I hear my constituents clamoring for on a regular basis. A place for mom and dad to have a date night, a place for the community to gather, a place for music and just to relax. Terrell is so in need of something like this, and it's just going to be huge for us. And just thank you for bringing this vision forward. Special meaning with the name as well. That's we'll definitely honor that, and we appreciate you guys, making that a part of it and letting us be a part of that memory for you guys. But thank you so much for the plan and for working with us. And I know we kind of went back and forth for a while with some of the negotiations and kind of found a place that worked for everyone involved. And it looks like a huge, huge win for us. So just thanks for your partnership.
Thank y'all so much.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
when you said, Schulman's synonymous with quality, I think that's what we have strived for so much. So for you to say that means a ton to us. And Terrell as a whole has been amazing. Y'all have welcomed us with open arms, and we're proud to be here. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have to put my 2 cents in because my close group of
Oh,
friends is watching Sinners today.
Okay.
So that's where I'm like, no, I got to go to my council meeting. I can't miss out. And then, of course, they're also hosting, Schulman, you're hosting the Terrell ISD Bond event to get families informed and excited about it. But I don't think I could say anything else that hasn't been set up here. I think we're excited. We appreciate the quality. And I hope that we can also expect maybe some sort of open house or, tasting where we can all get to
for
enjoy
sure.
it. 'Cause I know it won't be our first and last.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
To the left.
No, I'm just glad. I like going there. It's like, I like the whole atmosphere of wholesome quality. I like that. And I don't have children or grandchildren, so I'm glad the children have a place to go. I love the bowling alley.
My daughter worked at Family Alley and she loved it, so thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, no, thank y'all.
Now, here's the fun part. So I only have one coin and 2 brothers. So I don't know which one is whose.
We'll just call for it. You flip it, and we'll call it.
No, Allison is going to help, and we'll get another coin for one of them. And thank you. Again, it's a challenge coin. It's about leading the way in the city of Terrell and then also building your legacy in the city of Terrell. And y'all certainly have lived up to both of those. So I'm going to give you a coin, and then Allison will give you one when she gets back.
Yes.
Well, he's coming out, I'll say that these are also the kind of guys who
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Council,
Oh, how cool was that?
oh. Hey, Council, can y'all come down through? And Hodges, hey, we didn't say a word about you that back there.
Charles, you want to come in?
You want to come on?
Come on.
They have the vision, and Charles puts it down on paper and make it work, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. He's done a lot of.
Charles
done a
is
lot
the
of work.
visionary
Yeah.
too. So don't.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate all you do. That's all right. So there's one, and here we go. So we're gonna just hold them up and, got it?
1, 2, 3, smile.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
I know, right? We won't get you off stage. One more. All right. So it's Resolution 2219. It's Resolution 2219. Is there a motion on Resolution 2219?
Motion to approve resolution
Yes, you go.
2219.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Can I have a second, please?
Second.
I have a motion from Phil Robinson, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, District 5, a second from Donna Renee Anderson, District 2, to approve resolution number 2219, entertainment venue at Crossroads in Terrell. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous vote of those present. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is discuss Chapter 3, Animal Control, Section 7, Keeping of Poultry, Fowl, and/or Small Fur-Bearing Animals of the Revised Code of the Ordinances of the City of Terrell.
What a weird transition.
Burberry.
Somebody set you up with this?
No.
This is true? Oh, okay.
It is
This is 7.1. This is Assistant Director. You never know with people. Assistant Director of Municipal Development, Downtown Project Manager, Raylan Smith.
I do have to say I love my job. There are very few places you can go from talking about concert venues to
very-
small fur-bearing animals.
Burberry.
But we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We received a phone call and a couple of questions a few weeks ago. Mr. Sims reached out to me, and I had done just a little bit of research on our current ordinances as it relates to particularly the chickens. So we're really just going to talk about the poultry this evening. We can address any other types of animals you want to as well. But just to see if you had any questions, if you had any concerns that you're hearing from the citizens, or if this is an ordinance that you would like more information on.
Based on my recent visit to the TML, Texas Municipal League, there is a Senate bill, there is a bill that is going to be introduced. I do not know if it has made it to committee. However, it has addressed that you can only have 6 chickens. In light of the fact that we need to pass a budget, we're talking about 6 chickens, 6, there's 3 sets of animals. One of them is fur-bearing.
Yes.
But you're limited to 6. I think in light, until that happens, I think we might want to wait on this, because I don't know how it's going to fall out. I don't even know if it's going to make it out of committee.
You want more than 6?
It's what?
More than 6 chickens?
I can't. What is he asking?
What's the concern?
More than 6 chickens? No, I'm saying we shouldn't, based on what may or may not come out of committee, we should probably wait to see what we want to do with this ordinance. Because right now, it seems to be a hot issue with chickens and eggs. And I don't know how the bill is going to wash out. And at first I thought it was a joke, but it's not. It's how it's going to wash out at the end. That's just me. Can we just wait to see what happens?
Yeah, no, but I think it's great discussion. If there are other cities that you want to see, like what comes out of their decisions, we just didn't know if there were any items in particular that you would like addressed or questions that you may have.
Yeah, I'll admit, I'm the one that made the call about.
I wasn't going to.
You know,
I wasn't going to say that.
weren't going to put me out there like that. regarding this. So it did come forth from a community member, and having chickens and the cost of eggs and more communities across, or more individuals across our communities in Texas, advocating for, hey, let us have either, maybe a higher number of chickens or less regulations on chickens. And so I wasn't really surprised to see that there's a Senate bill on this. I will say that I tried to look up the Senate bill. The only thing I could find, I couldn't find it again for some reason, but Meyer is going to help me out. The only Senate bill the only bill that I was able to find was one related to like HOAs where, and that one's moving forward to the calendar and had an approval.
That was the one.
But that was only relating to if the city says yes, and then the HOA tries to say no, like the city really trumps the HOA. So I'm not sure where that's at either. I don't want to, I want to be supportive of where we're at and have be in a place where we're similar to other communities, and allowing, chickens and other animals along these lines, for our community members to have.
So this is our current policy with the 4.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so I highlighted the first row, so we do allow up to 4, and, or no more than 1 litter, which I don't necessarily know what that means, but, but we do. And so I went ahead and put in there the restrictions, just so you could see how we compare to other cities as far as distance from other residential structures, et cetera. So just kind of getting a feel from the council of what y'all would like to see coming forward. We'll definitely do some more research on the bills coming down. But if there were any comments or guides for staff, that would be great.
I definitely have a strong opinion about this. I like chickens.
Everybody likes chickens. Yeah.
And I think that, with grocery costs the way they are and people kind of clamoring for being able to kind of do some things for themselves, I see nothing wrong with, I don't like roosters. They're noisy, so I think the chickens is probably a good way to go. You don't have to have a rooster. Chickens establish their own pecking order if you don't think about kind of keeping them. But I think I like Denison's, law there. I was looking over it today, and I think this 6 with no roosters, a 50-foot from a residential dwelling sounds like the right thing for a type of community that we are. We're kind of with our rural roots and with kind of the discussion being had at really a national and state level about, doing more of this type of thing for our citizens, producing your own food, and kind of being more connected to your food source. I would support a change to from 4 to 6 and kind of adopting what Denison has in place.
Okay. Is there any other cities that y'all would want to look at? Again, so Councilwoman Anderson has said let's delay a little bit before we move forward. Is that correct? This is only a discussion item. Did you want to wait until after the session? After the session. Okay. Is that all right? And in the meantime, our current ordinance would be in effect, which is
Right. The current ordinance was passed in 2014, based on, the trend as it was at that time and the council decision-making as it was at that time. So that's when that date's from.
So
I'm trying to recall if it was Richardson or Plano. I think it was Plano. Not too long ago, they had quite the conversation in their community that was led by a community member in regards to chickens. So I'd be curious to know, like, where they landed.
Okay, I can get.
Probably not, maybe on somebody's table, but.
Yes, ma'am, we'd be happy to research that. And if anyone else has a location for us to research, we're happy to do that.
So we'll just plan on.
When is that legislative session? When are they reaching a decision on this?
June 5th or 3rd, 2nd, something like that is the last day of the legislative session. If it doesn't get passed by the state legislature by June the second, third, something like that, then it won't be a state law. So.
Okay, and it would be within their jurisdiction to pass a state law regarding how many chickens you can have just at a residence in general. What's being considered specifically?
Well, I think that Councilwoman Velasquez is correct. There is a law that says city trumps HOA, and that's being discussed. I believe that Councilwoman Anderson is correct, that there's also a consideration of a bill that would say, hey, we don't care what you passed as a local government, we're going to preempt you and just say that 6 is always okay. So you couldn't do less than 6. Now, that is the quick high-level version, and one of the problems, and Omira is becoming more and more of a veteran at this, hey, just because it said 6 when it got through committee doesn't mean they're not going to change it to 4 when it gets voted on, or change it to 12 when it's voted on. So the wait and see game is kind of what we're stuck with here.
And I did find that it's Senate Bill 141, and it looks like, oh gosh, it hasn't moved since February the 3rd. It was referred to local government. And we do have Senator Bob Hall who sponsored this.
So what I will do is we will draft an ordinance that will allow for some of these changes. I'll make sure that Plano makes the list, but we won't bring it back until after the session is closed. And then that way we can update everyone at that time, and you can make decisions on the numbers and the distance from structures. That sound good?
Sounds like a plan. Thank you.
Thanks, Raylan.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is discuss good news report. This is our PIO, Allison Walker.
I hope some of this involves fur-bearing animals.
It does. Actually, what did not make this, which I should have put on here, and I threatened Mike, and next year we were going to do this. There was a take your dog to work day. Don't y'all think we should have that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. You can see some of the special celebrations there. We just did National Library Week. National Telecommunicators and Animal Control Week was last week when y'all didn't meet. And then the Jubilee is going on this weekend. And then back to back, it'll be the Taco Festival. So, okay. Here's a picture of the mayor and Mike who brought Buntinis, I think, to the dispatch and animal control group last week for appreciation for all that they do. This is a retirement celebration in honor of Robbie Levin, a lieutenant with us who had 36 years of service. So if y'all get a chance and y'all can make it out, his retirement party is April the 30th at Rockwall and Bryn. And aren't they cute? Little baby Blaze and Drake. These will be for sale at the Jubilee this weekend. So if y'all can make it out there, they're $25 each. And the Terrell Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association will be selling these for $25. And the officers will be out there throughout the weekend to visit with the public.
So would it be possible, if we could get our police department to,
Saturday only.
if we could get our police department to sign them and put them in auction from the city?
Good idea. Okay, we
Yes,
will
sir.
work on making that happen.
Of course, I'm gonna buy mine for 25 and then I'll get them signed. No, I think that'd be a cool thing to have from the city, to have those.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Okay. This is a new feature that I'm trying out on Facebook. It's Terrell Tuesdays, and we're trying to just do highlights that are going on throughout the city. But I chose this one on Library Giving Day, and we had 37 donors who raised $4,495. And I thought that was great for the first time they've ever done this. So she said they made more for this day than they do on National Giving Day. So
Wow.
that's something that we'll want to do in the future as well. Okay, this is become very popular, the CPR and first aid classes handled by Josh McKenzie. The class size is limited to 20, so if y'all know of anybody that needs to register for this. The next class is May 20th, and I'm not sure if it's full yet. I don't think so. He usually emails me. Okay, and here are some employees that we have. Jesse Ortiz, the senior engineering technician, Matthew Wisdom, police officer, Jana Moat, police officer, Lauren Carey, our new GIS analyst. I know Chris Walker is thrilled to death about that. And then these are temporary employees in dispatch, Shelby Clement and Jessica Collum. And then here is a picture of one of the new houses out at North Spur. I drove out there and they were actually moving furniture in. So it was, if y'all have a chance and you haven't been out there, it's exciting. Okay, and then Nicole Brown in administration, and I believe Mayrani went out to, which school was this? Gilbert Willie. And had some of the students there draw their version of what they would like to see in a downtown. And so at some point, we may want to invite them here at a council meeting, and they can share those with us, because they were pretty inventive. So there's a picture of some bond walkers. You might recognize some of the people in that picture. We had a great afternoon doing that. And then this week is Star Transit Rider Appreciation Week. So if you don't know of anybody that needs rides, they're giving free rides and giveaways all week. And then the Heritage Museum is opening their new exhibit on April 30th. And it's on World War II. So I knew that'll be a really good exhibit. That's it. Thank you.
How long does that exhibit run? Is it just,
I think it's going to be till in the fall.
okay.
6 months. Raylan says 6 months.
Thank you.
Yeah, she was there. Do we want to mention anything about A&B coming up? Do we know?
Okay, so we've been meeting with Raylan, the mayor, Mike, have been meeting with the representatives from American National on their 150th celebration. And they're going to do it downtown. And unfortunately, they selected October the 18th, which is the day of the civic auction. So anyway, we tried to find an alternate date that would work, but theirs is going to be in the afternoon. I think the hours were 11 to 3 or 4? 3. 11 to 3. So, you know, you should be able to make both events that day. But it's going to be a really fun thing downtown, and we'll bring y'all more information as it gets a little closer.
Yeah,
So.
they have 600 total employees across their entire system, and for them, it's a party for 600 employees and the families of 600 employees. So it's, I think it'll work out all right. It'll be a little tough for staff, but it'll work out.
They're doing multiple events at different locations throughout their service area, and so this was one of many, but because this is their home base, we hope this one will be extra good and extra big, but we'll work around it. We will have a long day that day.
Yep.
Anything else?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Allison.
Much appreciated.
Always love those reports.
All right, council, the next item on the agenda is consent agenda. We may take all of these items at once, or if anybody would like to pull one, we can do so as well. Is there a motion on the consent, or is there a request to pull anything?
Mayor, I would like to request to pull the 8.2, the food service and retail food service establishment inspection service agreement extension.
Okay.
Discussion.
All right. Is there anything else?
That's the only one.
All right, so let's do 8.1 first, and then we'll do 8.2, and then we'll do the rest, the remaining consent agendas that are left. Is that all right?
I just pulled it.
Okay. Okay, let's do the entire consent agenda, but pulling 8.2 for later, okay? So is there a motion on the consent agenda absent 8.2?
Motion to approve consent agenda minus 8.2.
Second.
So we have a motion from Phil Robertson, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, District 5, a second from Ray Ronnie Velasquez, District 3, to consider all but 8.2 in our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve? We have a motion to approve and a second. So is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Those present. Our next item on the agenda, 8.2. Braylon, if you would, please discuss and consider RFP 24-03, food service and retail food service establishment inspection service agreement extensions.
Yes, sir. Mayor, City Council, I presented this to you during our last council meeting. There have been some comments. We have had several meetings. One thing that I would like to express to the City Council is that change is very hard. And we went from a health food inspector who was here since the first time I was here at City Hall in 1996. He was a familiar face whenever I came back in 2022. So I will say that we did just a one-year contract because we knew that this was going to be difficult on our vendors. It was going to be difficult on our business owners. However, we made it through the first year. We picked up 50 additional restaurants that had not been receiving their annual inspections. The other comment that I will make is that everyone in our department, and I hope that all of you have been a part of this, we're definitely all working on our delivery as it relates to code enforcement and health violations, et cetera. I am very confident in the work that's being done through our contractors and would not recommend renewing a contract if I felt as though he was not representing the city or able to represent the city the way that we needed him to.
So I'll add some context to this. In the 35 years that I was owner of Carmona's Tex-Mex and Cantina, I felt like I was being targeted by the health inspector because he always came on Sunday right as we were preparing for Sunday lunch. Busiest day of the week for us at lunchtime. And he didn't, I don't know what he did with the other restaurants, but I thought, man, why would you know, everybody's running around. We got people in the kitchen. Things are dirty because we're trying to get ready for our lunch rush. Or he would come on the weekend, Saturday midday, when we're in the middle of a shift change, and the guys are trying to prep for the evening and get ready for the evening, and once they get the food prepped, then they go back and clean, but he would come before they'd actually get clean. So I understand these folks who are saying, man, I just don't like the timing of our inspector. However, I do have a problem with if we're not doing good customer service. And all of those times, he was understanding and he knew that, hey, I'm going to get somebody with you as soon as I can, but we've got to get ready for our lunch rush or our dinner rush. And we didn't score as high because of the timing that he showed up. He never would come in the morning when we weren't doing anything and everything's clean and ready to go. He wouldn't come at the end of the night when everything was clean and ready for the next day. He specifically picked those times because he knew those were the times he was going to find little things wrong. And, you know, bless his heart, it was difficult for us. So I understand all of that. What I'm hearing, though, from our staff is that we're going to work through that and we're going to get to a point to where the customer service part of it is going to be taken care of.
Right, and the additional steps that we've put in place, and I know that y'all are familiar with a few of the meetings that we hold there in municipal development. Whenever there are customer citizen concerns, we bring them in, and, you know, we don't ignore those requests, and we definitely don't ignore those comments, and our contractors and our staff know that we'll address them whenever they're
they're heard, so.
Are you sharing those with the health inspector when you get them?
Yes, sir.
The comments? from the
Yeah,
restaurant
and
owner?
when we have meetings with citizens or with owners, he's also there in the meetings, absolutely, yeah.
So, you know, they're there to do a job, they're there to protect our citizens from dirty restaurants or restaurants that aren't operating correctly. And sometimes it's a challenge. If you follow the rules and you do everything the way you're supposed to, even with that, and with all of the checks and balances that we had at Carmona's, we still had issues with our staff, you know, little things, drinking soft drinks or Cokes or water near the prep area. I remember getting written up for that. And no matter how many times you told your employees, don't get anything to drink until you finish. You know, they'd always do it. So I understand both sides, I really do. And Patty, you made a good point when you spoke. I agree with you 100%, but you got to balance it all. And I don't deal enough with him individually to know. You do, Raylan. So I believe you when you say that y'all are going to work that thing out. Does anybody have any questions for Raylan?
I've got a couple of thoughts. I'd like to begin my thoughts by first thanking staff, because I wasn't involved in the meeting we had with a business owner locally, and there were a lot of concerns and a lot of sort of heated comments at first, but I think a lot of that was alleviated by us kind of taking the time to meet with that business owner and kind of going over why these items were necessary, what what we could work with them with, what we couldn't work with them with. Fire code's one thing that's pretty much a non-negotiable. You can't have your building catch on fire. But as far as some of these requirements, I think the predominant things I hear from business owners are that sometimes we're not consistent across what we require from one business to another. And I think that feedback was well taken when I mentioned it to you guys after the meeting. And the other piece is the customer service, some rudeness issues. One of the things that I was assured by some of the staff is that we do put body cams on a lot of our building inspector personnel, so that we can kind of evaluate a complaint if something occurs and needs to be evaluated. I think that would be good to have in place for our health inspector as well. Have the body cam. If there is a complaint, you just go, okay, let's look and see what happened. So, because I could see someone who just didn't want to be messed with that day and wants to run the business how they want to run it, and making a complaint that might not have as much merit. I see it go the other direction as well. But just being able to look at it and see definitively, this is what occurred, that seems like the right approach. But I want to say I did see firsthand our city's willingness to sit down and work with the business owner involved. It was very productive. Since I've talked to that business owner, she feels like she's on the right track now, that things were ironed out. I'm sure along the way more hiccups will occur, and we'll just kind of work through those as they happen. But I think we showed there our willingness to kind of sit down and have those conversations. So bravo to you guys. Thank you very much.
So I just want to be, are the two businesses that I heard earlier in remarks from visitors were Side Street Bar and Buffalo Wild Wings. We had an opportunity to address or start that process. Okay. And so what I'm hearing both from the council side and from staff side is that we feel confident and have seen in action progress there.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and I think it's important for the contractors and staff to know that when those complaints come in, we're going to address them. We don't ignore them or take them for granted, but if something is heard, we're going to address it right then.
And since those conversations have been had with the contractor, have we had similar concerns come in?
No. We don't receive, in our department, we do not receive numerous complaints about the health inspector.
Okay.
We received some concerns from a business, and sometimes that generates people saying, this also happened to me, or this also happened to me. But I did have staff go back. Arabia Turner answers all of the phone calls for the health inspector, and she keeps up with all the reports, and she takes all of the phone calls, and she was able to tell me maybe on one hand the number of times that someone had called, and they really had more questions about the inspection than the inspector himself. There was a lot of confusion whenever it was a different person that had gone out, because we had sent letters and tried to introduce him and walked him around. But again, I go back to my favorite saying, you know, change is very hard. It really is.
Because we did the body cams for code enforcement. We moved from police to, police over to code enforcement. Is there anything in the contract that allows us to do that at this time?
That's really not going to be a problem to expand the number of body cams. The contract we have has some flexibility to add and subtract body cams, and I would have to, I have an outside contractor, so there's going to be issues with, okay, outside contractor is different than putting it on animal control or our own code compliance. You want to say something about that, Chris?
That's what I was referring
Body
to.
cams, so it's not an issue of equipment. I'm not going to be coming asking for more equipment. So as these concerns, as she just stated, they're not going hurt and they're addressed. I think you saw demonstrated real in front of you exactly as you walk out the deal. So when we receive a complaint, naturally, we vet it out. So we just done, there's always two sides of the story, but you got to vet it out to say what's reality and what's real, and then we address it accordingly. No different than you do between your kids. You figure out which one's not telling the truth, and you work them out.
I definitely hear that. But in this agenda item, do we need to write in, like add, make a motion with making sure that the contractor's agreeable to the body cam? That's really my question.
Chris, do you have, or Raylan, either one of you guys have a comment on that?
That would be fine as part of your motion. And we are the owners of the contract, so we could absolutely write that in and provide the equipment. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Well, it answers a lot of questions really quick.
It's the exact same reason that we move forward with animal control and code enforcement and so on down the line. It's just a great tool, yeah.
I'd be supportive of that.
So there's an incident report on every time that someone complains on the health inspector? Somebody has a
If someone calls in and has a
we
question.
got a report, and we follow it through. Okay, good. Anybody got on this side?
And that was my question.
Yeah.
Walk me through the process. If somebody has a complaint, they call in. I think that's good for the public to hear what the process is within the city.
So any complaint that's called in through municipal development, that gets routed directly to me, and then I contact the business owner or the property owner, and I find out, if there's additional information that we need to gather. Was it a question about code? Was it, an attitude problem? Whatever it was, and then I'm the one that follows up or schedules the reinspection, and a lot of times it's just not understanding. So we handle those. So they get directly routed to me.
So why 2 years instead of one?
To lock in, number one, to lock in the fee schedule, and for some consistency. I think that there is something to be said about people getting comfortable with a system and with an inspector. And then, your comptroller says go out for bid every 5 years, and so we definitely wanted to only do a 12-month to make sure it worked. And so just to provide some consistency with our businesses.
Because I think I recall you saying that it had been, we've added 50 restaurants?
So let me kind of address where you think you're headed there. But in our previous, we were spending around $115,000 to $135,000 a year. When I came to you with this idea of going out for an RFP to have it reevaluated, this rates came in with this individual much less, and we are considerably spending a great deal less. In fact, less than what I could get an employee to do. So it's cut in half from what our previous yearly annual costs were. So there's the big difference. even with the additional 53 additional permits. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And those weren't all new businesses. Those were some, like, we were not regularly inspecting certain institutions, certain cafeterias, et cetera. And so our numbers picked up because we recognized that there were more facilities that needed the inspections.
And one person is enough?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We are on schedule. We're doing 2 per year, which is the requirement. He's got a great system.
Okay, and you are confident that we're working on the customer service side of it?
I am confident that, yes, ma'am, that is happening, and I am also confident in always having a termination clause, at which point we would never hesitate to use if we did ever have a problem. A 24-month contract does not guarantee him 24 months of business in Terrell. It just means as long as everybody's happy, we'll keep rolling.
Thank you.
Good discussion. All right, thank you, Raylan. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve a 2-year contract extension between the City of Terrell and DCA Inspection Services as presented with the additional requirement of a body cam for the contractor.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Bill Robinson, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem District 5, a second from Stephanie Holmes Thomas, Mayor Pro Tem District 4, to approve the RFP of 24-03 food service and retail food service establishment inspection service agreement extension to 2 years with the addition of body camera system. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries with unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is information reports. This is Star Transit. This is our police department monthly report, our housing monthly report. Typically, council, I'll ask that you just reach out to staff on those to see if there's any concerns you may have. Our next item on the agenda is to adjourn into executive session in accordance with Section 551 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. We are now in executive session. All right. We're going to reconvene into regular session, consider action, if any, on items discussed in executive session. Are there any motions? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thank you.